All right, planning board, we are live. We are recording. Phone lines are opened. Go for it.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of East Hampton's Planning Board. Our regular meeting and work session of September 24th, 2025. Nice to see such a big live audience. Welcome. We have a very ambitious agenda tonight. We have 4 things on for public hearing, which maybe is why some of you are here. We have 7 items on our work session, and we have 5 items on our regular meeting. So lots of stuff to talk about tonight. So we're going to jump right into it. And our first matter is the Brisas Padel Court site plan, which is Will, who's already situated at the computer, and Ava for us, and we're here. Okay, great. Read the notice, please.
Okay. Take notice that a public hearing will be held before the East Hampton Town Planning Board at Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, at 6:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as site plan to construct 3 new padel courts, an Airstream camper, storage container, sauna, shade pavilion with decks, 2 sheds, and turf in lieu of existing lawn. The property contains 1,054,767 square feet, 24.214 acres, and is located on the north side of Daniels Hole Road, Wainscott, and situated in an A5 residential zoning district as shown on the official zoning map of the town of East Hampton, and is identified on the Suffolk County tax map as parcel 300-181-1-5.1. Subject application is classified as a type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, Part 617 of the New York Code of Rules and Code. A survey prepared by George Walbridge Surveyors, PC, dated revised April 11, 2025. A set of plans prepared by architect Chris Teeter, RA, dated April 9, 2025, including cover sheet. Do I need to read that? T-001.00, existing Padel court plan and relocation A-100.00, proposed Padel court panels A-200.00, isometric views and color selection A-201.00, typical panels A-202.00, proposed lighting plan A-203.00, lighting plan level A-204.00, typical panels elevations front and rear A-205.00, proposed cable installations and floor light detail A-206.00, site additional accessories A-300.00, A-301.00, A-303.00, and proposed pavilion plan A-302.00. Cover letters prepared by Tara Burke, dated April 21st and June 23rd, 2025. Accessible route improvements prepared by DB Bennett, PE, PC, dated June 16th, 2025. Outdoor shower prepared by DB Bennett, PE, PC, dated June 16, 2025, and cold plunge specifications are available for inspection at the Planning Board of Offices, 300 Panago Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York. The public hearing will be held live and in person by the Planning Board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing, and will be televised on local TV, LTV, channel 2022, and available for live stream on the LTV website, www.ltvveh.org. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, but may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person or by agent or by attorney, or by call-in to the live stream, or by written comment addressed to the Planning Board, 300 Panago Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York, 11937. Comments may also be submitted to the Planning Board by email to planningboard@ehamptonny.gov. All comments must be received by the Planning Board by the date and time of the public hearing.
Dated.
Dated August 27th, 2025.
Group
Ed
Chairman.
Group Chairman. Now you're finished.
Thanks, perfect, great. Just want to play it by the book.
By the book.
But so before we start, is this hearing properly noticed?
Yes.
Okay, great, terrific. All right, so Bill, you're going to give us an overview, and then we're going to ask for comments from the public.
Yep. So this is an application seeking approval for 3 new padel courts, an Airstream camper to be used as storage, a storage container to be used as a snack bar, a sauna, a shade pavilion with 2 decks, 2 sheds, and turf in lieu of existing lawn on the subject property. The site is located within the Special Groundwater Protection Area, Suffolk County Pine Barrens, the A5 Residence Zoning District, and is the only property within the town's Recreation Overlay District. The site is currently improved with a single-story frame building, 10 sheds, a pool, 4 parking areas, a building on slab with 6 indoor tennis courts, a single-story building on slab, an outdoor bar, a mini golf building on slab, a mini golf course, 2 platform tennis courts, 3 padel courts, and a single-story frame building with porch and wood decking.
Okay, great, thank you. So the way this works, as many of you probably know, is we ask first for comments from within the room. We time comments at 3 minutes each. We go to anyone who might be calling in. And then if time permits and there are other comments or someone wants to take longer than the 3 minutes that they had the first time around to share, we'll come back to the room again. So before we begin, is there anyone on the phone, Matt?
Please stand by. And this is Matt Chapman calling from LTV, making sure the lines are open and clear, in which they are, and you have 0 additional callers. Thank you.
All right, great. So we're going to start in the room. As I said, is there anyone who would like to make a comment on the Breeze's Padel Courts project that we just discussed? Okay, I guess you're not here for that one. All right.
Excuse me,
Yes.
1 second, planning board.
Yeah.
When Ava read the notice, did she happen to say channel 20 and 22, or is that a typo?
22, it says 22.
It's just 22. Okay, I thought I heard her say 20 and 22 because it's only on 22. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, great. All right, so would you like to make a motion to? Oh,
Close the public hearing. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
second. All in favor of closing?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Our second public hearing is the Estee Restaurant site plan. And that again is Will and Ava. Once again, you're going to be reading the announcement.
Okay. Take notice that a public hearing will be held before the East Hampton Town Planning Board at Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, at 6:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard, to consider the application of Estee Restaurant site plan to combine 2 properties, demolish an existing residence, and construct a new restaurant, shed, decks, parking, and new IA OWTS sanitary system. One property contains 15,329 square feet, 0.351 acres, and is located on the western side of South Emery Street, Montauk, and situate in a CB Central Business Zoning District as shown on the official zoning map of the town of East Hampton, and is identified on the Suffolk County tax map as parcel 300-50-1-13.1. The other property contains 6,810 square feet, 0.156 acres, and is located on the southern side of Montauk Highway, Montauk, and is situate in a CB Central Business Zoning District as shown on the official zoning map of the town of East Hampton, and is identified on the Suffolk County tax map as parcel 300-47-3-5. Subject application is classified as an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, Part 617 of the New York Code of Rules and Regulations, and Chapter 128, Environmental Quality Review of the Town Code. A survey prepared by George Walbridge Surveyors, PC, dated revised June 6, 2025, A set of plans prepared by JM2 Architecture PC, dated revised July 3rd, 2025, including site plan C-1.0, landscape plan C-4.0, lighting and photometrics plan C-6.0, lighting specifications C-6.1, 6.2, first floor plan C-7.0, second floor plan C-7.1, rooftop floor plan C-7.2, and elevations C-8.0. A set of plans prepared by JM2 Architecture dated revised June 6, 2025, including site and layout plan CT-1, grading and drainage plan CT-2, site plan details CT-3, septic site plan CH-1, and septic details CH-2 and 3 are available for inspection at the Planning Board offices, 300 Panago Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York. A public hearing will be held live and in person by the Planning Board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing, and will be televised on local TV, LTV Channel 22, and available for live stream on the LTV website, www.ltvveh.org. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, but may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person or by agent or by attorney or by call into the live stream or by written comment addressed to the Planning Board, 300 Panago Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York, 11937. Comments may also be submitted to the Planning Board by email to planningboard@ehamptonny.gov. All comments must be received by the Planning Board by the date and time of the public hearing. Dated August 27th, 2025, Ed Krug, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Ava. And again, is this hearing has been properly noticed?
Notice was properly given within the statutory timeframe.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we'll start with the room. Would anyone like to comment on? Will, yes. Oh, I thought it was such a thorough reading of what is going on with this. Will, please enlighten us. Thank you.
This is an application seeking approval for a proposed two-story restaurant, shed, decks, parking, and an IAOWTS sanitary system on a site located on the southwestern corner of Montauk Highway and South Emery Street in Montauk. Currently, the site consists of two separate properties which are proposed to be merged as part of this application. The lots are both zoned Central Business District and are considered to be 100% cleared of natural vegetation. Combined, the subject property will be 22,138 square feet in size. 666 Montauk Highway is improved with a cottage and deck, while 3 South Emery Street is improved with multiple sheds, a bocce court, wood fencing, a pool patio, and a concrete swimming pool. The existing structures on 3 South Emery Street are accessory to the adjacent Sands Hotel, which is located directly to the south of the subject properties.
Okay, thank you, Will. Okay, I do notice that the applicant is here. You don't need to be, by the way, but I'm happy you're here and you can speak with everyone else if you care to. Would anyone in the room like to be heard about Estee Restaurant's site plan? Please.
Sorry, I just have some questions. Sorry.
Could you please come up to the microphone and identify yourself, please? Name and address, please.
My name is Patricia Viscardi de Sousa. I am the neighbor directly adjacent to the left of the proposed restaurant. We have a vacant lot currently. And I just had some questions. We just received notice on Monday. We were out of town. Yesterday we were at a funeral and couldn't get here before 3:30 to look at the plan. So we just had some questions really about curb cuts and parking and about the alley, which is deeded access to our parcel, which is next door. So we just really, I have some questions that I just haven't been able to answer, and I'm not really, this is the first time I'm seeing the plans. And I just didn't know, are there curb cuts proposed? Is there parking?
So one thing that people who come to their first public hearing are unaware of and disappointed in is the fact that we don't actually entertain questions per se.
Oh, okay.
At a public hearing.
Okay.
But the planning department is available to answer any questions you may have about the application and all the materials that Ava mentioned in her lead-in are available for examination in the planning office.
Right, it's just, we got notice too late for us to actually be able to look before the hearing. So I guess sorry?
The materials are also online.
Oh, yes, the materials are
The
online.
letter, I apologize that we received. So I guess then my concern, I will just add, not pose it as a question, but as a concern. My concern is the alleyway remain clear as it's our deeded access. I'm curious, I would like to express concern about the curb cuts through New York State and just understand what the parking plans are. So that's
So those comments are duly noted.
Okay.
And they will be addressed.
Great.
In the recap of this public hearing.
terrific. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the room? Matt, do we have anyone online who wants to speak on this?
You
this application?
you have 0 calls on the line. Thank you.
Okay, so.
Make a motion to close this public hearing?
Second.
Aye. All right, so the third public hearing is for Eco Acres.
Small type.
Okay.
And the spelling of acres.
Okay, we'll make sure we say it correctly.
I'll pronounce
Thank
it.
you. All right, so this is Eric and Jen for the board. I'll ask the question one more time. Was this properly noticed?
Yeah, so it's properly noticed within the statutory timeframe. You can proceed with the public hearing.
Okay, fine. All right, great. All right, so yes, the announcement, please.
Take notice that a public hearing will be held before the East Hampton Town Planning Board at Town Hall, 159 Pantico Road, East Hampton, on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard, to consider the application of Eco Acres minor subdivision approval pursuant to Chapter 220 subdivision of land of the East Hampton Town Code to divide a 292,810 square foot, 6.722 acres parcel into 2 separate lots. Lot 1 will consist of 54,616 square feet or 1.25 acres, and Lot 2 consisting of 59,027 square feet or 1.36 acres. The parcel is located on the westerly side of Old Northwest Road, East Hampton, and is situated in an A3 residence zoning district as shown on the official zoning map of the town of East Hampton. Premises are identified on the Suffolk County tax map as parcel SCTM 300-135-2-11.2. Subject application is classified as an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, Part 617 of the New York Code of Rules and Regulations, and Chapter 128, Environmental Quality Review of the Town Code. A survey prepared by George Walbridge Surveyors PC dated revised June 26, 2025, and a common driveway road and drainage plan, sheet C1, prepared by DB Bennett Consulting Engineer, dated revised April 21, 2025, are available for inspection at the Planning Board offices, 300 Pantico Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York. The public hearing will be held live and in person by the Planning Board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing, and will be televised on local TV, LTV Channel 22, and available for live stream on the LTV website, www.ltveh.org. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, but may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. I forgot my glasses. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person or by agent or by attorney or by call-in to the live stream or by written comment addressed to the Planning Board, 300 Pantico Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York, 11937. Comments may also be submitted to the Planning Board by email to planningboard@ehamptony.gov. All comments must be received by the Planning Board by the date and time of the public hearing, dated August 27th, 2025. Ed Krug, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Eric, do you want to fill us in on this project?
Sure. So hopefully everyone can see on my screen the proposed minor subdivision map. As noticed or as included in the public hearing notice, this is an application to subdivide an approximately 6.7 acre lot into two lots, one of approximately 54,000 square feet, one of approximately 59,000 square feet. Two reserved areas are also proposed, and in addition to an access and utility easement, a common driveway that would come off of Old Northwest Road. The site's located in the A3 Residence Zoning District and Water Recharge Overlay District. It's a mandatory open space subdivision due to its inclusion within groundwater protection areas, among which include the Water Recharge Overlay District, Suffolk County Department of Health Services Groundwater Management Zone 5, and the Suffolk County Designated Pine Barrens region. I also have the common driveway and drainage plan here if anyone needs it, and can provide anything that's in the official file for a member of the public.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Does anyone in the room have any comments on the Eco Acres sub-waiver? Please come forward. Name and address, please, for the record.
Mark Gardy, G-A-R-D-Y, 203 Bull Path. My property is adjacent to this property. It's, I guess, east-southeast of the property. And I believe it was a sand pit at some point, the property, so it's dug out, so we're in a gully. So this property is, if our house is behind me, it's to the left, is high, and we also, to the other side is where the cell tower is for the town of East Hampton, the auxiliary fire building. My only concern, because two houses on almost 7 acres is certainly fine, and it's great. I just am concerned because we are so far down, as I said to the woman yesterday when I came to look at the plans, I don't want it to look like the house from Psycho, the mother's house, where you're looking up on the hill and it's right there. So, and I don't want, I'm sure they don't want to look down at me. And I certainly don't want to look down at them. We also have a tennis court right there. They probably don't want to hear it. So whatever the setbacks are, to the extent they can be expanded, would be great. But again, I don't have a problem with the idea of two homes on 7 acres, roughly.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. We will address those issues, as I said, as we summarize the public hearing. It'll be addressed. All right, Matt, is there anyone on the phone?
You have 0 callers. Thank you.
Okay, so Jen?
If there's no one else, okay. I make a motion to close the public hearing.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Passed and carried, closed. All right, our final public hearing is the Kuhn sub-waiver, and again, that brings Will back to the control seat, and Jen, that's you once again. And are we properly noticed, Brittany, for this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Take notice that a public hearing will be held before the East Hampton Town Planning Board at Town Hall, 159 Pantico Road, East Hampton, on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m., or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard, to consider the application of Kuhn minor subdivision approval pursuant to Chapter 220 subdivision of land of the East Hampton Town Code to divide a 40,000 square foot, 0.92 acres, parcel into 2 separate lots. Both lots will consist of 20,000 square feet, 0.46 acre. The parcel is located on the westerly side of Springs Fireplace Road, Springs, and is situated in a B residence zoning district as shown on the official zoning map of the town of East Hampton, and are identified on the Suffolk County tax map as parcel 300-24-13-29. Subject application is classified as an unlisted action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, Part 617 of the New York Code of Rules and Regulations, and Chapter 128 Environmental Quality Review of the Town Code. A survey prepared by James P. Walsh, LS, dated revised March 11th, 2025, is available for inspection at the Planning Board offices, 300 Pantico Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York. The public hearing will be held live and in person by the Planning Board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing, and will be televised on local TV, LTV, Channel 22, and available for live stream on the LTV website, www.ltveh.org. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, but may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person or by agent or by attorney or by call-in to the live stream or by written comment addressed to the planning board, 300 Pantago Place, Suite 103, East Hampton, New York, 11937. Comments may also be submitted to the planning board by email to planningboard@ehamptonny.gov. All comments must be received by the planning board by the date and time of the public hearing. Dated August 27th, 2025, Ed Krug, Chairman.
Okay, thanks, Jen. All right, Will, fill us in, please.
This is an application seeking a subdivision waiver approval for a property located on Springs Fireplace Road in Springs. If granted approval, this project would create two 20,000 square foot lots, both having frontage on Springs Fireplace Road. The subject property is currently 40,000 square feet or 0.92 acres in size and is located within the B Residence zoning district. The site is currently improved with a single-story, single-family residence with a sunroom, shed, and patio, all of which will be contained within proposed Lot 1. The site was originally created as part of the Clearwater Beach subdivision, which was approved in February 1960. Since then, the two lots were merged, and this application seeks to revert back to having two lots.
Okay. That's the summary of the project. Does anyone in the room wish to be heard on the Kuhn subwaiver? Matt, do we have anyone on the phone lines who's interested in talking about this?
You have 0 callers on the line. Thank you.
Okay.
I make a motion to close the public hearing. Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Closed. All right. Those are our public hearings for tonight. Thank you, everybody. It took longer to read the notices of the hearing, but that's how it goes sometimes. All right. Thank you. So we will jump into our work session, and the first application is the Montauk Airport redevelopment preliminary subdivision. So we start with Chris, who is representing the planning department on this, and this is reads for the board. So Chris, please. Oh, and the applicant is here, I see, yes.
All right, so this is the initial review of the Montauk Airport redevelopment preliminary subdivision application at 428 East Lake Drive in Montauk. This map just shows where the airport is towards the northern end of East Lake Drive. And the preliminary subdivision application has been made to subdivide the Montauk Airport property into 4 residential lots in a reserved area. Since the property is located within the A5 residence zoning district, it must be treated as an open space subdivision, which requires that at least 50% of the property be preserved as open space. The proposed lots and access easement are across approximately 16.2 acres, and the remaining 21.4 acres, which include all wetlands on the parcels, are proposed as a reserved area. The proposed lot areas range from approximately 3.23 to 4.83 acres. Access is proposed within access and utility easement, which is about 55 feet wide. And just to give some more context on the site, I'm going to jump back to the aerial. The subject property consists of 2 tax map parcels shown here, and the overall lot area is 36.315 acres. The parcels are within the Montauk School and Fire District and located within a New York State and local significant coastal fish and wildlife habitat and a scenic area of statewide significance, which regulates projects that would reduce or diminish the scenic value of the property. The property is surrounded by Montauk County Park on 3 sides and is near to Big Reed Pond, which is one of only 3 areas on Long Island which has been designated as a national landmark by the National Park Service. The locations of natural features, including wetland boundaries, the primary dune crest, and beach vegetation were verified by the planning department on July 8th of this year. That's a copy of the verification from the department. Flood hazard zone AE, shown in orange here, covers portions of the property and encompasses most of lot 1, where my cursor is there, most of the proposed reserve area, roughly half of lot 4, which is in this area, and some of lot 3. Property is currently improved with the airport terminal building, 3 aircraft hangar buildings, 2 parking areas, some perimeter fencing, the runway and taxiway, as well as communications equipment. The submitted full environmental assess form, EAF Part 1, details that the existing improvements will be removed, including pavement in the proposed reserve area. The applicant did not provide details on whether revegetation will be proposed, and the properties are partly cleared with beach vegetation northwest of the runway, wetlands between the runway and taxiway towards the northeast, and there are some wooded lands towards the south here as well. So now we go into the issues for discussion, beginning with secret. So the project has been preliminarily classified as a type 1 action pursuant to chapter 128 of the Town Code and the State Environmental Quality Review Act. The proposed action includes activities associated with the closure of the Montauk Airport, the subdivision of the site into 4 lots in reserved area, the physical alteration of about 12.3 acres, and residential construction of the 4 lots to be created. The activities associated with the airport closure and the change of use on the site are subject to SECRA as part of this review. Next, we'll go on potential impacts of SECRA. And the planning department notes that the submitted EAF did not include all components of the proposed action and its analysis, and it will require substantial revisions. Therefore, the EAF Part 2 and 3 could not be completed at this time. However, based on the number of flights estimated to be operating at Montauk Airport, as published in the East Hampton Town Airport Operational Changes Draft Generic Environmental Impact Statement, EIS, there's a potential for substantial displacement of air traffic to other regional airports. So the planning board should note that in determining potential significant adverse impacts from the proposed action, impacts to communities surrounding these airports should be considered. Accordingly, the planning department is likely to recommend a positive declaration for this project. And EIS is the appropriate mechanism for which these issues can be fully analyzed and appropriate mitigation identified. The following items are specific areas where potential for significant adverse impacts exist. The first is increased noise from aircraft and vehicular traffic patterns and roadway volumes in the areas surrounding regional airports may be experienced due to increased flights from displaced traffic based on the closure of Montauk Airport. Airports that might experience increased traffic should be identified, and impacts should be analyzed at each location. 2, changes in the community character surrounding regional airports that receive displaced flight traffic. 3, impacts to significant natural communities or special species status species as a result of the physical disturbance at the project site. And 4 being impacts associated with the environmental remediation of the site, pending the results of a phase 1 environmental site assessment. Next, we're just going to go over quickly our comments for the submitted EAF, and our planning department notes that we reviewed it and offered preliminary comments for several of the questions on the form, which are detailed in our report. We're just going to go over some general feedback now that it should be noted that not all parts of the proposed action were considered. So therefore, many of the questions were not fully answered in the submission. So when making the revisions, the applicant should consider each element of the proposed action scope and provide a comprehensive answer to each question. Once a revised EAF is submitted, the positive declaration recommendation can be confirmed, and should an EIS be required, a draft scope must be submitted for planning board review. It's recommended that upon receipt of a complete EAF Part 1, the planning board should declare lead agency status for this project. So that's it for SECRA. The next is regarding the Federal Aviation Administration FAA requirements. The submission included copies of 3 grant assurances from the FAA and 1 copy of special conditions from a separate grant assurance. And the applicant submitted letters which indicate that only a single grant assurance remains in force on the property and will expire in August of 2027. The applicant requests that the board consider approving this application on the condition that the applicant would forgo active development of the parcels until the grant assurances expire. On preliminary review of the submitted documents, the town acknowledges that the applicant's claim appears correct. However, the applicant should submit full copies of all grant assurances and copies of written correspondence between the FAA to confirm that the FAA consents to the eventual closure of Montauk Airport, and the applicant should provide clarity on what FAA approvals are required for the closure of the airport. Next is the reserved area. The proposal includes approximately 21.4 acres of reserved area, which is about 57% of the total acreage of the subject parcels. This meets the requirement of the town code for at least 50% to be preserved as open space. And the locations proposed as reserved areas seem generally appropriate since they're nearest to Big Reed Pond and include all wetlands located within the property boundaries. However, as the property contains and is near other protected elements such as dunes and beach vegetation and may contain rare threatened species, optimal configuration of the reserved areas and building envelopes should continue to be considerations. Also, the reserved area is mostly in flood zone AE, and to the northwest it includes areas of steep slopes. The town code requires that reserved areas be marked as reserved area for use of residents of the subdivision and possible dedicated to the town of East Hampton. The map should be revised accordingly, and the applicant should detail their intention and preference for the future use of the reserved areas. And we note that there are opportunities to connect to the nearby trail network in Montauk County Park to the southeast, which should be explored. The board should discuss whether the applicant should provide a revegetation plan for the reserved area, particularly where the pavement will be removed. You note that there are wetlands shown in green here between the runway and taxiway, which will likely migrate and expand once the pavement is removed. Therefore, it's recommended that a revegetation plan be provided to help this land return to its natural state. The town code requires that a reserved area or scenic easement be provided along public roads at least 10% of the lot depth as a natural buffer. Currently, the road frontage for all of Lot 1 and most of Lot 2 are cleared, and the applicant should provide a revegetation plan for this area. And the revised submission should confirm whether a reserved area or scenic easement will be used to provide this buffer. It would be approximately 42 feet wide, and the board has the authority to waive this requirement. However, the planning department recommends that it be provided, and the board should discuss if it agrees. Next is dimensional regulations, and our report provides a detailed breakdown of the lot sizes and total area of the reserved area. The applicant should confirm whether the proposed lot areas for lot 3 and 4 exclude the flagpoles. Accordingly, it appears that they were not excluded, and if not, the lot area for 3 and 4 would be reduced. This would require consideration by the board regarding whether to approve lot areas below the 200,000 square foot minimum lot area in the A5 zoning district. The board has the authority to reduce the required lot area for an open space subdivision and routinely does this to create clustered designs. In this instance, we recommend approving lot sizes in this location. Reduce lot sizes is appropriate, given that there are sensitive natural features surrounding, and this would also help the lots from protruding into the wetlands to the east and would maintain rectangular block shapes. However, the planning department does recommend that the applicant confirm the lot size before the board determines whether the proposed lot sizes and configurations are acceptable. While most of lot 1 is in flood hazard zone AE, the planning department recommends that this is generally acceptable since alternative lot configurations would impact wetlands with rare plant species, areas of steep slope, and move the proposed lots further from East Lake Drive, which would negatively impact firefighting capabilities. The applicant is advised that future development on lot 1 would require compliance with FEMA standards. This would require the base floor elevation to be approximately 2 feet above grade, which could impact aesthetics. Noting the sensitive natural landscape, the planning department recommends that field surveys to identify the presence of threatened and endangered species of special concern be conducted. And should these species be located within lot areas, mapping of building envelopes to avoid these areas would be recommended. Conservation easement may be another method for protecting sensitive areas such as beach vegetation. Just to note that beach vegetation is shown north of this runway across lots 2, 3, and 4, so it's about a third of that area. Identifying some of the species of concern requires field inspections at appropriate times of the year. The applicant should propose a work plan, which the planning department would review for adequacy. There are missing submission items that are required by the town code and should be added at this time. Our report includes a detailed list, and the more involved items are, we want test hole data, proposed fire hydrants, as well as the proposed drainage system with preliminary calculations. Next is proposed access. I'm just going to zoom in on the access easement, which is shown there with the dashed gray. The submitted map indicates a proposed access and utility easement along the southeast property lines of lot 2 and 3, which would appear to serve all 4 lots. The applicant should confirm whether that is the intended use for the proposed easement. Lot 1 and lot 2 both have adequate width for individual driveways. However, the planning department recommends that the board requires the 4 parcels to share a common driveway to reduce curb cuts. The board should determine that if it agrees, and since East Lake Drive is a town collector road, direct access from individual lots may not be generally allowed per the town code. The easement includes 2 flagpoles, which are proposed as parts of lots 3 and 4 and are approximately about 27.5 feet wide for a total width of 54.98 feet. Only 25 feet of right-of-way is required by the town code. Given the width, the applicant should confirm that the proposal is for a common driveway and not a new roadway. And the applicant should consider reducing this width to 25 feet for the easement and provide plans for a common driveway with a cleared width of 22 feet and an improved width of 18 feet. Along with a turnaround area at the end of the driveway, as well as a turnoff area that should be indicated in accordance with Chapter 220 of the Town Code. Next is drainage and stormwater control. Our town consulting engineer details that the proposed access could be designed in a manner that conforms to drainage standards. However, the means for providing such must be submitted. Regarding topography, the slopes across the property range from nearly level to steeply sloping. On the northwest side of the runway, there appears to be some areas with slopes of 20% or greater, most of which are in the reserved area to the northwest, and some appear toward the northwest of lots 3 and 4. The map should be revised to indicate these areas of steep slopes, and it's recommended that the board require that building envelopes, which exclude any areas of 20% or greater, be added to the map at this time. Sanitary systems are not indicated, and they will need to be added and removed in accordance with county standards. The fire marshal reviewed this application and provided a sketch that was put together by the Montauk Fire Department. This shows that 2 fire hydrants are proposed. Those are shown with those blue circles, and that's where the location should be if they offer 2. This pinkish circle shows where it would be if they only offer 1 fire hydrant, sort of more towards the center, and that should be added to the revised map at this time. The fire department will eventually need to approve the application. The applicant submitted a letter to the assistant chief at the department, but has yet to submit a response letter. A quick correction from the engineer's report noted that the areas of 20% slopes or more should be reduced from the lot area. That was an error, and they only need to be taken away from buildable area, which should be reflected on building envelopes. Regarding other review for this project, the zoning board of appeals would need to approve future natural resources permits, likely on some or all of the lots for construction. The New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for potential freshwater wetland permits and stormwater pollution prevention plan as part of this proposal. The Suffolk County Planning Commission review is required, given its proximity to the county park. The fire marshal must review and submit a written report to the Montauk Fire Department, which will eventually need to approve the proposed fire hydrants. Suffolk County Department of Health Service will need to approve the final map, but not this preliminary application. And as mentioned, the FAA needs to approve the closure of the airport. So in conclusion, the application is incomplete. Pending the revision of the issues mentioned, the EAF should be revised accordingly and missing submission items should be provided. The board should discuss the lot and reserved areas configuration and if potential adjustments to these may be needed, pending identification of other protected features and threatened or endangered species. The board should also discuss whether the proposed building envelope should be adjusted or whether a conservation easement should be considered to protect sensitive areas such as beach vegetation. The board should discuss whether they will require revegetation plans for the proposed reserve area and for a natural buffer along East Lake Drive for 10% of the lot depth. The board should also discuss proposed access and whether the lots should be required to share a common driveway and whether the width of this easement should be reduced to 25 feet. And more straightforward questions for the board to consider are listed in our report for you all to form a consensus as part of your discussion. Thank you.
Good, thanks, Chris, for a very thorough report. Does the applicant wish to be heard? Please identify yourself for the record, Eric.
Good evening, Ed, members of the board. Eric Brown from Ackerman Partners, 34 Panago Road for the applicant. I'm really here to listen to, to you guys talk about the project. It's obviously, a complicated one and we're, early days into this. So, as far as I'm concerned, unless you have questions, for me, which I'll be happy to answer, I would just like to hear you guys discuss it and I'll make notes and we'll, await the communication from the staff and the board about, the various additional items that need to be submitted in order to move it forward.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that sort of works perfectly. But Reed, before I turn it over to you, I just want to say that, this is a preliminary subdivision review, right? So we are really not going to make any hard and fast decisions. We're providing direction to you. We're giving you some idea about what we might decide in the future. But anyway, I just wanted to say that as a caveat before we start. Reed.
Yeah, thank you, Ed. I just want to take a moment and thank Chris Decker. That was a very detailed memo, and I thought he did a very nice job of explaining it. I think it's a very good initial evaluation. I would say that on my Christmas list, I would like to see the town buy this parcel. I know the town had an opportunity just a few short years ago, I think in 2021 to buy it, but for whatever reason, a deal was not able to be pulled together. We're dealing with a large 38-acre parcel here in a very environmentally sensitive area with wetlands and dunes. And, the current status is it's privately owned, and the FA grant or the loan, grant assurance, whatever you want to call it, expires in 2027. So the applicant has the right to redevelop this property. And overall, I think the plan has some sensible aspects to it. Number one, it's appropriate with the zoning A5 residents. It meets the open space requirements. Almost 50% of the land is preserved. The applicant can have up to 5 lots in this subdivision. They're only proposing 4. And the proposal is really minimizing the potential impact. The proposed redevelopment is a less intense use than an airport. I think we'd all agree with that. I would say that the memo that the town has put out on this is completely reasonable. It's a very environmentally sensitive area, like I previously mentioned. So we need to play this one by the book. And, I think that the environmental assessment form definitely needs some substantial revisions. Something that wasn't addressed in the memo, and I don't even know if this is a major point or not, and maybe I should preface this by saying this airport, I do not believe they allow fueling at this airport.
No fuel.
Okay, but with that being said, it's been used for a while as an airport. I don't know if you'd have to do any remediation for contaminating substances. I know firefighting foam, fuel, corrosive. I don't have any idea. I don't know much about aviation, but it might be something that might make some sense. In reference to the layout, I think the layout is acceptable. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with Lot 1 being in an AE zone. I don't think that's a major issue whatsoever. And the final thing I did want to say is that we do not know the amount of traffic going in and out of that airport. I get the sense that the Montauk Airport is not that busy, but something that was stated by Chris Decker, and it's also in the memo, is that once this airport's closed, that traffic is not going to disappear. It's going to go elsewhere, and it will likely come into East Hampton Airport. So I just wanted to mention that, and I think it's something we need to be cognizant of going forward. So that's really all I had.
So, sorry.
You have a question, obviously.
Do we know the number of operations at the airport? And an operation, by the way, a landing is one operation, takeoff is another operation. So down, up is counts as 2 operations. Do we know the number of operations at the Montauk Airport?
We do, but I don't know it off the top of my head, Michael. I'll get you the data.
And
okay,
sorry, my question. Okay,
yeah, if you're gonna please.
My question next is to Reed.
It's not a huge number of flights. I mean, compared to what you see at East Hampton. But
do you know where they come from? Are they coming from New York City? Are they coming from
wherever? I mean, oddly enough, my father, who was an airline pilot, after he retired, used to fly out and visit us from upstate New York, and they would land here. So so it's a variety of different of different sources.
And I believe there are lessons given there too. So I think.
Yeah, I think it's a flight school.
Probably, beginner.
Right, but this is exactly why we're the recommendation is we're calling for a study of exactly this. What is the traffic? How much and what is it? Right.
And what is it? Like what size?
And what is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There are limits because of the size.
Yeah.
And can it be absorbed
somewhere
elsewhere?
Elsewhere. Yeah.
Well, I live by the East Hampton Airport, so we get a lot of helicopter traffic overhead. So any increase is going to disrupt a lot of us poor folks in Waynescott. My question is about it's a private airport.
Yes.
Which means, they've accepted grant assurances.
Yes.
So once those expire, they can do whatever they want? Or are we going to have a judge issue a temporary restraining order that said you can't close the airport? Or
I don't know. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the FAA oversight ends after 20 years. And if they took the grant assurance in 2007, come 2027.
Right. I mean, I understand you'll need more documentation from the FAA, but our FAA counsel, having spoken to the agency, has basically said that their primary concern was the expiration of the grant that Reed was talking about, which expires in 27. And
it's not a public airport.
Yeah. No, it is not a public airport.
Difference between East Hampton and I know what you're getting at.
Well, the East Hampton Airport they tried to make it private. And they had those grant assurances, and that was correct. That was very important.
It was.
To us near the airport, and once those expired, we had high hopes.
I understand.
Where do the medevacs take off out in Montauk? Like if there's a serious injury, where do the helicopters land? Do they go there? Is there another location?
It depends on where the injury is. So the firehouse is one location. I believe the airport is another location.
And I think the West Overlook is another.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is.
So if this is gone, that means just one less spot for a emergency helicopter to land. Okay.
Is that it, Michael?
Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you. All right.
I'm chomping at the bit all day.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell these were well-formulated questions. Bruce, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I just have, I think, one question. And Why are the lot sizes significantly different? So we go from like 40, it's almost over an acre between lot 1 and lot 4.
So
I'm just wondering why they're not more uniform. And if the flagpoles were included in those?
I'll have to check with Drew Bennett to see if the flagpoles were included. I believe the intention just in that regard was to have, just a regular flag, just a regular common driveway entrance. In terms of the size, Bruce, all I can say is that, the surveyor's brief in creating the map was to try and get a 4-lot yield out of this in deference to the site conditions. And so that's really how it lays out. It has nothing, as you guys have pointed out, there's a lot of stuff going on this site. You can see that the location of the lots is obviously, pushed to what is probably the least sensitive portion. And then the rest of the property, which gets more sensitive as you go out, has been proposed for, preservation.
Okay. And I think I would be in favor of a common driveway. For sure.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get to that question.
What, a more narrow driveway?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jennifer.
Hi, thank you, everybody, for all of the great comments on this. One quick question about the lots, kind of to piggyback on what Bruce said about the differing sizes. Are the lots also situated, is that the width of the runway currently? Is that, or is it,
No.
does it over?
You can see, I think, yeah, if you go in, okay, so that right
That's
there
the
is the
runway,
width
okay.
of the runway.
And so it would be, so I think, given the fact that it's been an airport since 1930 something?
Yeah, 36, I think.
60s?
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 Okay.
East Hampton Airport's 38.
I wonder, I do think there might be some sort of remediation that needs to be done once you remove the runways and all of that stuff, because there probably was fueling there at some point. If there is not now. But I do think the design is fine. It's a, long, narrow piece of property. It meets all the zoning requirements. My one question goes to the trail system, because it would be nice to have the trails, connect to that area, so you could kind of, people could walk all the way through that trail area.
I don't disagree, and certainly something we'd look at,
That's kind of it.
All right, thanks, Jen. Ava, would you like to comment?
I don't really have much to add. Everyone had very good comments here. Just to kind of stem up what you were saying with the revegetation when the runways pulled up, that reserve area, I would like to see, like Reed alluded to, the town had an opportunity to purchase that at one point. Perhaps that becomes a covenant to deed back to the town of East Hampton.
We can certainly talk about it. Absolutely.
Okay, good. Listen, I think that we're off to a really great start. It's a good first take. I do, and the questions that we're about to do will actually get to the heart of this, but, I do agree with the planning department's evaluation of what the potential for adverse impacts could be, right? I think they're pretty irrefutable. The first is the whole issue of diverting traffic to a new airport. What does that mean for the receiving airport? And what does that data look like? How many, what kind of flights, that kind of things everyone's been talking about. The community character is the second thing. Impacts to, the natural environment there, very sensitive, right in the middle of the county park. And the possibility of the need for remediation. So, I think personally that we have identified some, clearly, potentially adverse impacts. So I think that will determine how I'm going to answer the questions, right? So we're going to get to that.
Thank you.
All right. So the first question is, does the planning board agree the full EAF Part 1 must be revised to address the comments above in this document?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great, of course. Does the planning board agree with the planning department's preliminary assessment that the project will be considered a type 1 action, which will likely receive a positive declaration? And again, we're not making that declaration.
Yes.
Just talking about.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Everyone's a yes on that? Okay. Does the planning board agree the applicant should submit full copies of all grant assurances from the FAA and copies of written correspondence with the FAA to confirm that the FAA consents and what approvals are required from them to facilitate the eventual closure of Montauk Airport?
Yes.
Yes. And can we add to that, that we would like to see reports of what the traffic is that will potentially be diverted? Because I don't think that's in any of the other questions.
No, is it not?
Operations,
A traffic-
airport operations, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like the flight traffic, not traffic.
All right, so, so we could add to that, we could revise the sentence that said that the planning board agree the applicant should submit airport operation detail, let's say, and full copies of. All right, so are we good as revised?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Airport operations. Does the planning board agree the applicant should provide a re-veg plan for the reserved area and for a natural buffer along East Lake Drive for 10% of the proposed lot depths?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, all around, okay. Does the planning board agree the applicant should confirm that flagpoles were excluded from the proposed lot areas, and if not, that these areas should be revised accordingly?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That'll probably change with a common driveway anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it will. And then question 6, does the planning board agree that the applicant should provide the submission items required by section 220-2.08 of the town code? Those were the things that Chris talked about, like test hole data, fire hydrant locations, that was the things. Everyone's a yes on that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Does the planning board agree that the 4 proposed lots should be required to share a common driveway?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Does the planning board agree that the building envelopes which exclude any areas of 20% slopes or greater be added to the preliminary map and may be potentially required to be further restrictive based on field surveys? We didn't really talk
We
about
didn't
that.
talk about that, but I think, and that's part of the town code anyway, right? The 20%?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Okay, everyone's a yes on that? Yes. Okay. Does the planning board agree that a conservation easement should be considered to protect beach vegetation and provide a natural buffer?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be great. All right, so those are the questions. I think we're done for tonight. Mr. Brown, thank you very much. Hopefully that was helpful.
As always.
Okay, thanks very much. Right, so our next application is 531 Montauk EV Chargers site plan. And Aaron, that is you, and Reed, the board.
Yeah. I think so. I have to.
Oh,
that's
right,
right.
you're recused on both of these, right?
And is this a quorum? This is a quorum.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah. 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count.
Yeah, we can lose 2. Yeah, Aaron.
So this is a site plan evaluation for EV chargers at 531 Montauk Highway. The site is 4.6 acres or approximately 200,000 square feet. It is zone A in a residential affordable housing overlay. The affordable housing consists of 6 two-story apartment buildings and a equipment building. Currently, the site has 74 parking spots, 4 of which are ADA compliant, which is following what is required for this lot.
May I interrupt just for 1 second,
Yes.
Eric? Would you mind speaking a little bit closer to the mic? That's okay. Thanks.
The site currently has 74 parking spots, 4 of which are ADA compliant, which follows the requirement on the lot. There is a proposal to put in 4 EV chargers consisting of 2 poles with back-to-back chargers and 4 bollards and an H-frame to hold electrical service equipment to the side. They want to use 4 existing parking spaces on the property, one of which is ADA compliant. All chargers and parking spaces will be labeled as EV chargers only. The height of the charger with the pole will be approximately 8 feet. The upgraded electrical equipment will be in the form of a new 200 amp, 120 or 208 volt electrical meter and a new 200 amp panel miniature circuit breaker. And that will all be attached to a H-frame. We believe that this is a type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality and Review Act, SECRA, and Town Code. The fire marshal has reviewed the site as part of the normal process to review site plans, and after reviewing the documents provided, the fire marshal found that the proposed project is ADA compliant and no additional comments were given. During the process of reviewing this, we looked at, let's go change a little bit. One of the spots that were going to be used were ADA compliant, and it's an existing spot which would be converted to EV charger only. After talking to the fire marshal, when you put an EV charger only sign under EV charger on an ADA compliant spot, it effectively removes an ADA compliant spot. With the parcel currently has 4 ADA compliant spots, and it's only required to currently have 3 at 74 parking spaces. As such, with the removal of one ADA compliant spot, it will still meet the minimum. I also want to note that at the time of writing the memo and the evaluation, it was mentioned that not all parking dimensions were provided, but after further review, that is incorrect, and I just want to add that that dimension was indeed on the site plan. The architect, we also want to note that in addition to the formal site plan review, the proposed project will also require approval from the Architectural Review Board for new structures on the site as pursuant to 255-730 of the Town Code. And the applicant in the site plan and architectural drawings mentioned that there will be EV charger only signage attached to poles. However, neither document provided shows dimensions of such items, and the applicant should submit the actual dimensions of such items to the ARB to ensure compliance. Additionally, the planning department recommends this project be deemed a minor site plan as no variances are required. Health department approval is not required. The proposed work will be approximately 30 square feet and no additional parking will be requested. Also, no visual impairment is believed to exist and no current public controversy exists. Additionally, not all information was provided as part of this application, which we believe as the planning department should be clarified, there should be a clarity if any new or modified lighting is intended. In conclusion, the board should discuss whether the location of the EV charger stations is appropriate, if the quantity of parking spaces is good, including those reserved for ADA accessibility is adequate, and if any additional information or changes to the plans are needed. And additionally, whether to waive the public hearing requirement as part of marking it as a minor site plan.
Okay, great. Thank you, Aaron. Does the applicant wish to be heard? Just name and address, please, for the record.
Hello, my name is Oscar Ramirez. The address is 531 Acabonic. I'm here just to answer whatever questions the board may have about the Revirus project.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Reed, I think this is you. Please.
Good evening. Katie Casey from the East Hampton Housing Authority, 316 Acabonic Road. I just wanted to say that we do have some residents that require EV chargers. These are level 2s. We're proposing they would be open to the public. They are primarily to serve the residents so that they don't have to do what they're currently doing, and that is running an extension cord across a sidewalk, which is
That's a little dangerous.
They can't charge at home. They have to charge at a, so just so you know, that really is the purpose of this, not only to contribute to the infrastructure, but primarily to serve the residents of housing authority properties.
Thank you. Is that billable to them, by the way, or is this was this being charged to them? Is it?
Yes.
Pay, right?
It's to pay, yeah.
Okay.
So members of the public could potentially
yes
sit and pay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Katie. All right. Reed,
Thank you, Ed. Yeah, we're seeing a lot more of these EV charging applications. This one's easy. It's a minor site plan. It's a simple conversion of 4 parking spots to EV charging. I'd be in favor of waiving the public hearing, and I support the application. I don't have any problems with it.
Okay, good. Anyone else have any comments?
I agree with Reed.
I agree with Reed. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. All right, so but let's answer the questions. Does the board find the location of the proposed EV charging stations appropriate?
Sure.
Yeah, looks good to me. Does the board find the quantity of parking spaces, including ADA accessible spaces, adequate?
Yes.
Aaron explained that it was. Should the applicant revise the plans to provide the dimensions of the EV charging only parking spaces? Yes, they've been provided.
Yeah.
Right, that was an error, as Aaron said. What else we got here? Should the applicant clarify if any new or proposed modified lighting is intended to be included as part of the project? Yes. If there's going to be, what we'd like to know. Does the planning board agree this proposal qualifies as a minor site plan and that accordingly the public hearing will be waived?
Yes.
Are we all in agreement on that? Yes. Thanks. So moving right along to 316 Acabonic EV charger site plan. Aaron, it's up to you again, and Bruce, this time it's you.
So this is another, for 316 Acabonic Road, this is another EV charger site plan. It is located on 316 Acabonic Road, it is 28.6 acres or approximately 1.2 million square feet. It is zoned A, under the residential affordable housing overlay. The affordable housing site consists of 10 two-story apartment buildings, 1-story center, and a paid parking area. The site is within the South Fork Special Groundwater Protection Area and is also designated by Suffolk County as Pine Barrens. The site currently has 100 parking spaces, which is based off of the general building permit information from 1992. They want to put in 4 EV chargers consisting of 2 poles with back-to-back chargers and 4 bollards. They want to convert 4 existing parking spaces on the property, one of which will be ADA compliant. However, as we'll be seen later in the plan, this proposal conflicts with what is on the architectural review. The total height of the chargers will be approximately 8 feet. The project is the planning department believes this is a type 2 action pursuant to the State Environmental Quality and Review Act, SECRA, and Town Code. Type 2 actions are not subject to additional review under SECRA. The fire marshal reviewed the plans as per normal protocol and found that the narrative alludes to a ADA accessible EV charger space. However, no such spot is on the site plan or architectural plan. The planning department recommends that this project be deemed a minor site plan as no variances are required. Health department approval is not required. The proposed work will be approximately 30 square feet and no additional parking will be requested. No visual impairment is believed to exist and no current public controversy exists. In addition to the formal site plan review, the proposed project will also require approval from the Architectural Review Board for new structures on the site as pursuant to 255-730 of the Town Code. The applicant in the site plan architectural drawings provided mentions to EV charging only signage attached to poles. Neither document provided shows dimensions of such items. The applicant should submit the actual dimensions of such items to the ARB to ensure compliance. existing lighting and proposed location of signs, fences, screening, plantings, and exterior stuff shall be provided as required by the town of East Hampton Planning Board guidelines for lighting as adopted by the planning board. However, not all lighting information was provided as part of the application, and the applicant should clarify if any new or modified lighting is intended. In conclusion, the board should discuss whether the location of the EV charging stations is appropriate, if the quantity of parking spaces is adequate, if any additional information or changes to the plan is required, and whether to waive the public hearing requirement as it will be as marked by a minor site plan.
Thank you, Aaron. Does the applicant wish to be heard on 316? Joe?
Ditto.
Ditto. All right. Good. Bruce?
Yeah, ditto for me as well. No, we're almost on a 30-acre site. These won't be seen from anywhere from a public road. I really don't have an issue with this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Anyone else?
I agree with Bruce.
I agree with Bruce. Not sure I'm entirely clear on the parking space issue and signage. Those are two things that you mentioned.
Yes, so the applicant in the narrative mentioned that they will be providing one ADA compliant spot, just like on the 531. However, looking at the site plan, and as the fire marshal looked at the site plan and he commented, he does not see an ADA compliant spot despite what they stated in their narrative. And the signage is the same with the first site of 531, where they state they're going to put up EV charging only poles. However, they don't state the size of the poles, which is required when going to ARB. So that's just for when they go to ARB, they should know that.
All right, so there is not a charger on an ADA compliant parking spot, basically.
Currently, it does not look like that.
Okay, all right, just as long as we're all clear about that.
But they're including one per New York State code, right?
On their narrative, they say they are, but in the site plan.
In the site plan, it's not.
And the site plan does not look like one is marked as ADA compliant.
So I guess they should just clarify.
They should just clarify.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll add that to the questions, I
Yeah.
guess, right? All right, so does the board find the location of the proposed EV charging stations appropriate?
Yes. Yes.
That's good. Should the applicant clarify if any ADA compliant spaces are a part of this project? Oh, it wasn't.
there you go.
Yes. Should the applicant clarify if any new or proposed modified lighting is intended to be included as part of this project?
Yes.
Yes.
Does the planning board agree this proposal qualifies as a minor site plan and that accordingly a public hearing will be waived?
Yes.
We all agree on that. We're all good, Katie. Thank you.
Thanks,
Oscar, thanks. Okay. We should wave to Ava out there. Can you just tell?
When you pass by Ava.
Ava out there, yeah.
She can come back there.
Yeah. All right, so we're moving on. We're knocking these things off one by one. Our next application is the St. Michael's basement alteration site plan. Eric, I think you're taking that for Sarah, is that right?
Yep, I'm going to cover this for Sarah.
Okay, and good, and that's Jen.
Same one.
And are you here for the applicant? No? Okay, great, thanks. All right, Eric.
Okay, just give me 1 second here with screen sharing. Just want to show you where the parcel is located in town by showing an aerial. Although most people know where St. Michael's is. It's been a while since the planning board's seen this application, but it's a site plan application made to approve basement alterations that were made without site plan approval. The application is for alterations to the basement of the westernmost building, which contains the community center and manager's apartment. A former storage area was converted to living space as an addition to the existing manager's apartment. The alteration converted 469 square feet in the basement interior and built a 22 square foot exterior basement stairwell for additional access. The property is roughly 5.36 acres, and site plan approval was granted in 2010 for the affordable housing development that exists on site, which is a senior-only housing development. So the time that the board last reviewed this, which was in October of 2022, clarification was requested regarding compliance with the building code. Basically, the only outstanding issue was a fire marshal sign off, as there was an issue with the design of the interior space. And I'll show you the floor plan here, and you can see it highlighted where that change was made. The fire marshal has since looked at the floor plans and signed off on the application. The board said at the time of the last review, provided that the fire marshal finds the floor plans to be acceptable and verifies this for the board, the application will be complete and ready to be scheduled for a public hearing. So accordingly, we believe that the application is complete and ready to be scheduled for a public hearing.
Okay. Just identify yourself for record.
Hi, Samantha Malone from Tarbert and Lester on behalf of the applicant. Just here in case you have any questions and would like to hear your thoughts.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Jan.
I do want to disclose I have had one ex parte communication with the manager of the housing authority, and she was just asking when this was possibly going to be scheduled. It was a few months ago and I did not know. So I don't think it changes anything that I would say. I think it's fine. I mean, it's already, it's been built. The only thing we were asking for, I know this is pretty much a new board since 2022, but I think, you know, the only thing we had requested was the fire marshal to sign off, and he did. So I'm in favor of scheduling a public hearing.
Okay, great. Any other comments from anyone?
No.
No.
Okay, then let's answer the questions. So we're all really in agreement. Does the board find the apartment's design acceptable, or should it require any additional conditions of approval? Acceptable.
Yes, acceptable.
Right?
Yeah.
Does the planning board find the application complete and ready to be scheduled for a public hearing?
Yes.
Yes. All right, unanimous. We're all in agreement.
Woohoo.
Thank you, Samantha. Okay, so we are now on to 267 Acabonic. That is our next application, and that
that's me as well.
That is you, and that is Eric once again.
Yep. So this is an application to subdivide an approximately 1.2 acre lot, having frontage on Acabonic Road into two lots, one of approximately 28,000 square feet, one of approximately 24,000 square feet in the B residence zoning district, where the minimum lot area is 20,000 square feet. So at the last meeting, the board held a public hearing for the application. No members of the public spoke at that hearing. One letter was received from a neighbor who was concerned over impacts of having drainage control structures installed right at their property line to the south. The applicants have since amended the plans to locate the drainage structures on the north side of the proposed common driveway, correcting the potential for any possible intrusion onto the neighboring property during installation or servicing. The town engineer has signed off on the project, as has the fire marshal. So in conclusion, provided the board agrees, it appears that the application is ready for approval. We noted three sort of unique conditions of approval: that the applicants complete the revegetation. There was a revegetation plan associated with this application. The applicant will need to complete an urban renewal map modification, and the applicant will be required to legalize or remove the existing shed and fencing on proposed lot 1 prior to a CO being issued on that lot. So that's basically it. And in conclusion, we feel the application is ready for approval if the board agrees.
Okay. I should have asked this question earlier. Sir, are you the applicant on this?
Is this isn't on Bayview, right?
No, it's not a Bayview.
I'm on Bayview.
I don't know that we have a Bayview. Yeah, we don't have. I do, sir.
I got an email on me saying, you know, I'm on the agenda for this.
Let's see. Hartley?
This is the second time.
We have Hartley.
Who was the email? Was it from the planning department?
I have the email, I'm sorry.
Was it from the planning department, the email? I'm just curious.
Supposed to meet here at 6:30 on the 24th.
What's the name of your application, please?
It's for Bayview, 20 Bayview.
20 Bayview?
Was it from the ARB? Are you sure it was for this board, not for ZBA or ARB?
We met on it already.
Yeah,
Looked familiar.
yeah.
Is it Johnster?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Here, let me come and get your information and I'll.
Thanks.
All right, we don't want you to have to do this again.
Yeah.
Okay, but we usually don't love for people to zoom into these things, but we'll let you do that. So wait a minute, so the applicant is not here for 267.
Interesting.
Okay, is that an issue? Is that a problem?
Sam's just here.
Because this,
Yes, this is Tarbert Lester.
This is Tarbert Lester.
yeah, it was, you forgot you the second one, I guess. All right, well, this is really a wrap up, so I don't think that this is an issue, okay. And Jen, this is
Yep,
you.
I think they've kind of complied with everything we've asked. I do think that the one comment from the neighbor, I think it was addressed adequately, and I think it's ready for approval.
Everyone agree with that?
Yes,
absolutely. Unanimous?
Yep.
All right, okay.
Those are the two questions.
All right. So do we find that the public's concerns have been adequately addressed?
Yes.
It's really just the neighbor driveway issue. Is the application ready for approval? Yes. Done. Okay. Very good. So now we're going to move on to 21 Hart. Okay. The applicant is here, I see. All right. So that is, who's doing that? That is
Eric.
That is Eric again. Yes, indeed.
Okay. So hopefully you can see the aerial photograph here. This is sort of a far shot of where the properties are located in town. I will zoom in to show you closer. Keep in mind, these are tax map parcel boundaries, not UR parcel boundaries. And then I just want to show you quickly the existing configuration and the proposed, although that's not going to show you a ton. This sketch might be the most helpful for the board's discussion. And what I'm going to do is zoom in a little bit and let you take a look at this sketch. So this is a request to modify a UR map in order to increase the size of UR parcel 11 from 12,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet, and in turn reduce the size of UR parcel number 14 from 18,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet. The parcel is zoned B residence with no overlay. It's currently vacant and surrounded by developed residential properties. This is an application that is just a UR map modification request. There isn't an associated subdivision or other planning board application. So as such, sort of your charge for tonight is to send comments to the town board. The board received a report from the town engineer that recommends approval of the requested modification given the circumstances related to ownership, which I'll get into. So the applicant's proposal would result in a UR parcel that is made conforming to minimum lot area in the B residence zoning district, as it would meet the 20,000 square foot minimum. It also will not increase housing unit density in this already densely developed area of town. However, as a result of making UR parcel number 11 larger, UR parcel number 14 would shrink and become more non-conforming to minimum lot area. It's important for the board to note the ownership of the multiple pieces or lots that must be combined under common ownership in order to complete urban renewal parcels 11 and or number 14. So as you look at this map, which is color coded here, you'll see in yellow the ownership of the Palmises, in orange Sterling Place JPAP, which is a co-applicant with the Palmises. In green are portions that are owned by the town of East Hampton, and in pink are portions that are owned by an owner identified as John Smith. So it's a little tough to see on this sketch, but if you notice the dark line, property line, that's in between 41 and 42 as identified here, that is the boundary of UR parcel 11, which is everything to the left of that. And then the boundary of, it's also the boundary of UR parcel number 14, which is everything to the right of that bold line. So just keep that in mind as you look at this. All lots needed in order to complete UR parcel number 11, which are identified as lots 36 through 41, are currently owned by either the Palmises or Sterling Place JPAP as co-applicants for this modification. Sterling Place owns lots 42 through 45, which are required under the current UR map to be part of UR parcel number 14. The town of East Hampton purchased lots 46 through 48 with the small lots fund for the purpose of preservation, and John Smith is listed as the owner of record for lots 49 and 50, which are required under the current UR map to be part of UR parcel number 14. So the applicants do not need the requested UR map modification to obtain a building permit for UR parcel number 11 and could obtain one at this time. However, unless a modification to UR parcel number 14 is approved, Sterling Place JPAP will not be able to utilize or build on the portion of UR parcel 14 that they currently own. The subject modification request would alleviate this burden for the applicants. The modification would reduce UR parcel number 14 in size and make it more non-conforming to required minimum lot area. However, it appears that UR parcel 14 is currently unbuildable and would require an urban renewal map modification irrespective of whether or not the subject UR map modification is granted in order to be so. This stems from the fact that the town purchased lots 46 through 48 in the middle of UR parcel number 14. The board should note that in order for a building permit to be issued on a UR parcel, all lots that comprise that parcel, as depicted on the UR map, must be in common ownership. Currently, various portions of UR parcel 14 are owned by Sterling Place, the town of East Hampton, and John Smith. The portion of UR parcel number 14 purchased by the town of East Hampton was done so with a fund and for a purpose that designates it as open space. Any transfer of ownership to a private party by the town would constitute parkland alienation. So basically, it's not a solution for the town to sell its portion that it owns here. Therefore, it appears that the only two viable options with relation to resolving the ownership problem between the town and Sterling Place JPAP is to either, one, modify the urban renewal map as proposed and place the lands in ownership of Sterling Place with those of them and Palmisi in UR parcel 11, enlarging that parcel, or two, for the town to purchase the portions of UR parcel number 14 owned by Sterling Place in order to add to the existing parkland. In order to resolve the ownership issue between the town and John Smith, it appears that either, one, an urban renewal map modification and subdivision application to create a new UR parcel by turning UR parcel number 14 into one smaller buildable parcel under ownership of John Smith and one open space parcel under ownership of the town of East Hampton would need to be approved, or two, the town would need to purchase the portion of UR parcel number 14 owned by John Smith in order to add to the existing parkland. At this time, the planning department has no objection to the map modification as proposed. We would normally express concern over the fact that UR parcel number 14 would be made more non-conforming, but it does not appear that this parcel is currently buildable due to the town's purchase of lots 46 through 48. As an alternative to the requested modification, the town of East Hampton could purchase the portion of UR parcel number 14 currently owned by Sterling Place. The planning board should discuss these options and send comments to the town board, but must answer the following questions with regard to the subject modification proposal, not as an either or choice. So in other words, your charge for the evening isn't to tell the town board whether or not they should purchase the portions of UR parcel 14 that are owned by Sterling Place to add to the parkland versus approving the modification that's requested. You should just review the merits of the subject modification application. So with that, I will let the board discuss and answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Erica. I was able to keep score as we were kind of going through all of that. The applicant, does he wish to be heard?
Yes.
Okay.
Richard Whalen Fowler PLLC, representing the applicants Stephen and Lauren Polbisi. Eric's memo is legally and factually correct, so I don't really have much to add. I will say one thing, I don't think it's in the memo, but just so you understand, Sterling Place is an LLC which the Polbisis own. So they do control everything you see in yellow or orange, they control. So I think my time is best spent seeing if you have any questions for me, because I have really nothing to add to what Eric wrote.
All right, great. Thanks.
Thank
you. All right, as this was an unassigned application, I'll kick off the conversation. You know, I feel as though what's been proposed is really the most, is really the best and highest, kind of use of these parcels, right? Because what we get is a conforming buildable lot, right? And, the John Smith lot is really not developable anyway, right? The town purchase of number 48 is, has sort of made that impossible to kind of get around. It's always going to be that. And, perhaps they'll cough up a few bucks to buy it as well, right? And add to that open space. So personally, I think the proposal is really the best alternative. So I'd like to hear from anyone else.
I agree. I think it is. I think you're right. It creates one conforming lot. It preserves the open space that the town has already purchased. And perhaps the town can reach out to Mr. Smith and make it a bigger parcel.
Anyone else have any other thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. It took me a long time to figure this out. I read through this like 10 times.
If I hadn't been on the pre-call,
It's like Jenga or something, right?
It's like, well,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think this is the best use of all of those lots.
Anyone else want to comment?
No, my only question was the ownership, the relation, and it's common ownership, so.
So that makes it really simple. And
Pretty cut.
co-applicants.
Do we have any idea what if the town is going to buy the J. Smith property? Is that on the table? Since it's not buildable, right? Because of the slopes, is that why?
I think it's too small. Too small.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's really the issue, so it's up to them.
We appraised our 4 file map lots at $300,000. Smith's own 2 lots, so probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else?
All right, well, if that being the case, does the board find these proposed changes consistent with the urban renewal plan?
Yes.
Yes. Does the board find that the change requested is practical, noting the comments of the town engineer and planning department?
Yes.
Does the planning board recommend that the town board approve the requested map modification?
Yes.
Well, I'm agreeing on that. Okay, absolutely great. Good. All right, moving on. Thank you.
Thanks.
The next thing we're going to take up is accessory dwelling units. And Eric, that's you, I believe.
Yep. So basically, this is a board conversation to send comments to the town board. The town board's considering changes to the town code to help facilitate the creation of additional accessory dwelling units or ADUs. Planning department prepared a memo and attached the specific code changes. I can put those up on the screen if that's helpful, but they span a number of pages of code. Basically, in general, summarizing the code changes, one of the main ones is the minimum lot area for an attached ADU, which is one that's within the principal structure, would be reduced from 20,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet. Right now, the requirement for an attached ADU and a detached, so one that would be in a separate accessory building, is 20,000 square feet. This proposal includes reducing the minimum lot area for attached ADUs only, as they're seen as less obtrusive. Also, I guess a large part of these changes are facilitating and making it possible for a second homeowner to be able to build an ADU. I know when I was with the housing department, we got a lot of inquiries from residents in the town that were second homeowners. They wanted to build an ADU. They liked the idea of having someone on the property and also being able to utilize a somewhat underutilized property. And the town code currently prohibits that. So included in that is just saying no longer requiring that either the home or the unit be owner occupied as well as the owner's primary legal residence. So in other words, some of the wording was changed so that a second homeowner can have an ADU. Also related to that is the concept of allowing property owners that build an ADU to also be eligible for the rental registry program. Right now they are not. I think there was a fear that, that allowing someone to rent out their home too would be, too much intensity of use on a property. But I think when you look at it, somebody who doesn't have an ADU is allowed to put their property on the rental registry. And there's nothing that's inherently, implied that if somebody, has their home, has an ADU, and then wants to go away for a month and wants to rent out their home in the interim, that's going to be problematic. And also, we really haven't seen any problems with, or it's certainly not widespread ones, with disturbances and code enforcement issues with ADUs. So I think that's, we have a prohibition in the code right now that is really not necessary. Some other sort of minor changes, but impactful, is that right now there's a limitation that you can't park more than 4 vehicles on a site that has an ADU. The idea being to try to prevent there from being, turning a front lawn into a parking lot or something like that. We haven't really experienced that. Also, if you have a home that probably needs space for 2 cars, and then you have an ADU and you might have a couple in there that need space for 2 cars, what happens when someone visits? So we're proposing to make that a little bit more accommodating and have it be a maximum of 5. Also changing something that we had wanted to change for a while, which right now the code says that the ADU must be the tenant's, in quotes, legal domicile. What that was really always intended to mean was their only legal domicile. Because obviously if they're living there and they have a lease, it's a legal domicile. But the idea was that they don't have other housing elsewhere, that they are someone who is in need that is taking up that ADU. So it's proposed to change that requirement from legal domicile to sole legal residence. And then the remainder of the code changes are mostly just cleaning up phrasing in the code, including changing apartment to accessory dwelling unit in various areas of the code. So again, all of these are really designed around the concept of sort of loosening the restrictions on ADUs. I think a lot of the restrictions that exist in the code were put up for, fear of there being problems with ADUs. We haven't really seen that happen, and really what we've seen is the opposite, which is that not enough people have been able to build ADUs, particularly those that want to build them, and face impediments with code requirements, whether they be a second homeowner or their lot is just a little too small. So with that, I'll leave it to a board discussion, and you can form a consensus on any comments that you may want to send to the town board.
I have a question for you, Eric. So, and you may have explained this to me earlier today, and I maybe not just absorbed it. So, for second homeowners who are building an ADU, what's the profile of the tenant? Are there any additional restrictions on that, or is it the same as any other ADU?
It'd be the same as any other one, where the tenant is required to income qualify and be a resident. So, there are. You can put your family in that unit as well, but basically there are no added requirements or restrictions on tenancy beyond what is required of any ADU, regardless of whether or not the owner is a second homeowner. I think that was the question. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So it's the same. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else have any other questions for Eric?
I have one question.
Yeah.
One of the points is that the property owners would be permitted to participate in the rental registry. So that's optional, or will that be a requirement?
No. So it's not. So the rental registry is its own process. Just to clarify, there's also already a process where an ADU gets a permit from OHCD. So we're not saying it in the sense of they would have to go through the rental registry to do an ADU. We're not saying that. What we're saying is they can build an ADU and then the main home would still be eligible to be put on the rental registry. The property owner would have that option.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is a great improvement to the code because, as Eric said, if you have an ADU, well, you can't rent your house anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's also good for older folks moving into the accessory building, the ADU, and then renting their primary house. And I think these are very positive.
Yeah, I mean.
I agree.
Yeah, these all seem to really encourage, take away some of the
Additional
obstacles that
impediments,
people have really faced.
Really enhancing additional affordable housing with the amount of secondary homes that we have here. I think that's only a major benefit.
It could be huge, actually, yeah.
I mean, right away, I forget the exact figure, but I think it's 55% of the homes and properties in the town are, seasonal second homes. Yeah. So right away, more than half are, essentially cut out of the equation. So I think this is a good change.
Good.
All right, great. I think this is great. I don't have any specific other comments to give to the town board. Yeah, so I think, so I guess in terms of a direct comment from us, I think we all, is it fair to say we're all in agreement with the changes?
Thumbs up emoji.
Is that what you need, Eric, from us?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so moving on to the regular meeting, we can whip through some sources of time and scheduling of public hearings. We're going to start with Michael with American Tower.
In the matter of the application of American Tower at 103 Flaggy Hole Road, site plan, special permit, personal wireless service facility, extension of time, and the extension of time on or until February 21, 2026. I've read the application and I move for its adoption.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. AT&T at 103 Flaggy Hole.
In the matter of the application of AT&T at 103 Flaggy Hole Road, Tier 2A, Administrative Personal Wireless Service Facility, Permit SCTM number 300-37-2-1. This is an extension of time until a CO is issued or until December 26, 2025. I've read the resolution and I move for its adoption.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Moving on to Verizon at 411 Wainscott Northwest Road.
Is that you? Yeah.
That's the one I just slipped to you a moment ago.
Oh, no, you gave me this one.
Oh, did I? Okay. Wait a minute.
It's Verizon at 411.
Who has that in their hand and can read it quickly? All right, go ahead, Jen.
In the matter of the application of Verizon at 411 Wainscott Northwest Road, Tier 2A, Administrative Personal Wireless Service Facility Permit SCTM number 300-180-1-8.5, an extension of time until November 1st, 2025. I have read the resolution and move for its adoption.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. All right, yes, it was McDermott lot line modification, Ava.
Okay, in the matter of the application of McDermott lot line modification, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-84-3-17 and 18. I've read the lot line modification conditions of approval and move for its approval.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. And finally, the Hubbard site plan resolution. That's Bruce. Schedule a public hearing.
Yep. In the matter of that, the application of Hubbard site plan, Suffolk County Tax Map number 300-49-4-12.9. This is to schedule a public hearing to be scheduled or held at Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as this matter may be heard to consider the said application. I have read this and move for its adoption approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, pass and carry. All right, so we don't have any boards of review tonight. We do have minutes, though, from our September 10th meeting. I'm sure everyone has read them, absorbed them, commented on them. Maybe even has one or two corrections, perhaps, I don't know. If not, someone please read. Why don't you make it?
I'll make a motion. Oh, wait, do you have
No,
any
go ahead,
questions?
you made the
I'm going to
motion.
make a motion to adopt the minutes as written.
And I
I'll
second. All right.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay, pass and carry. One final motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?